Did this thing fucking start? Yeah, it started. Alright, y'all. We are here in the Fuck Your
Oh boy.
Feelings podcast. And this is Wary JT here. Who else do we
Oh
got
boy.
here?
Hello, this is Diz453 checking in.
Do we got one more?
This is this is Pussy Sarah underscore 69.
That is such a fucking Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 name.
Exactly.
Bruh.
Very old school, like XX underscore poison shots underscore XX type shit.
Yep, yep. But yeah, let's fucking talk about how shitty our American education system is. Fucking
Oh my god.
sucks.
It's
It's bad.
really fucking bad. It is so much worse than you all think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the underperforming schools in Chicago, in New York City, in lots of major cities in this amazing country that is unfortunately crumbling before our eyes. It is quite a tragedy, you know. Very, I don't want to say similar to the fall of the Roman Empire, but it is, is somewhat related in a
Wow,
sense.
Yo, I'm fucking dead.
what a comparison.
hmm Yeah, our education system is not what it used to be. We are, I'm not gonna say we're the worst,
I mean,
but
I think it's always
from a
been pretty shitty though. Like even from like the beginning of like the fucking establishment of education systems.
true, like, I guess like worldwide we're not the worst. We would be on the higher end, but like looking introspectively, it's just from what we know as American citizens and what it once was, it was better at some point. Like it's never been great, but it was better.
It got
Like
too woke.
yeah, like for example, when my dad came to the United States in the 80s, he remembered still at the time, he was a young man in his early to mid 20s. He worked many various different types of labor jobs. Window washer, transmission rebuilding, uh, plumbing, electrical construction, HVAC, and he remembered like being a window washer in the Loop in Chicago, the financial district, talking about like how he always saw businessmen in the Chicago Stock Exchange or in the Board of Trade,
Yep,
and, or
yep.
like all these tech startups or computer science dudes or data scientists and all these financial buildings in the Loop, and how getting into college back then was much, much harder than it is today, and how it was reserved for people who truly valued higher education, who truly wanted to educate
Yeah.
themselves in a
Like nowadays we're just
better
fucking
communities.
giving giving people education, like higher education just like candy nowadays.
Well, because higher education, I would argue, is a scam nowadays.
It's quote unquote more accessible.
More accessible doesn't mean better.
Yeah.
Usually, and we're gonna look at like in relation to what more accessible means here. You make something more abundant, kind of like I guess in a business sense, like supply and demand. The more abundant something is, the lower the quality usually gets.
Honestly,
You
that's a
know,
good point.
and that's obviously not true for everything in life, but college is a business. Let's,
Yeah.
most education is a
And a
business.
lot of
Let's just
people
be
who
upfront.
are who go to college, like they don't even get good fucking jobs, or sometimes they just drop out. Like it's a fucking money scam at this point. Like
Well, even
you go
then,
to
look at the like.
college and it's so fucking expensive. Like people like our parents' age and shit, like they got into fucking debt going to college if they wanted to go to college.
Oh yeah,
Like you had to pay
like
so much money to go to college. When back in
shit.
the day,
Even
it
look at
really
all these
wasn't that
like
expensive.
look at all these like billionaires nowadays. A lot of them don't have college degrees. Like they're college dropouts. Like for example, Mark fucking Zuckerberg.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the totalitarian dictator of what is now known as Meta. Um, Facebook, Instagram, all that bullshit.
Meta.
Yeah,
What the
dude
fuck?
dropped out of college, you know. And this isn't just Mark Zuckerberg. There's been countless of numbers of cases of, you know, people go to college, they have a good idea, drop out, blah blah. The rest is history.
Yeah, and college can be helpful to some people. Like, there's still a lot of successful people that do come out of college. It's really just pure chance. Um, but like, yeah, honestly, the college system is such a business nowadays. It's really
Oh yeah.
fucked up. Like, it's education. Like, and they're just monopolizing and making that shit a fucking business. But there is a lot of money. There is so much money in education because it's considered quote unquote workforce development. Like, you fucking teach somebody to
Yeah.
do something and then you send them into the workforce. Like, we're in America where we're ran on like people working essentially, and that's a, I guess that's a good entryway into some jobs. Only some jobs though, not all.
But let's really dissect the problem here with that, pushing college onto these younger generations and throwing them into the workforce. Now let's take a historical look at, you know, previous generations, how it used to be. College was usually reserved for the more wealthy people, more well off, who have like, connections within government, whatever, they usually had an easier time getting into college, and honestly, just overall more intelligent people went to college. Most people decided, oh, college isn't for me. I'm just gonna be a laborer, blah blah. That doesn't mean that there weren't intelligent people within the labor force. I mean, obviously there were, Um, but let's really dissect it over like the past 20, 30 years. There was a very strong cultural shift from going to the labor force, starting your own business through just pure hard work and perseverance, and oh, let's make higher education more accessible because
Hmm.
everyone has a right to be educated. Even stupid people, but um, yeah, everyone has a right to be educated. This really started in like
And it's
the
starting to make
late
like
90s, early
degrees
2000s.
useless.
Well, we'll get
Yeah.
to that, yeah. So, okay, maybe for a time, going into these high-paying, highly skilled technical fields like computer science it was a very valuable degree. It was very much needed because technology really exploded in the 90s and mid 2000s, especially with the development of the smartphone. When the internet bubble burst in the 90s. A lot of people were needed for this. But let's take a look at it now. Let's say over the course of, let's say, 2014 till now, so 9 years. Every, I don't want to say every, like, a lot of people who went to college, what did they go for? They went for highly skilled, high paying, highly technical jobs, right? Now, what happens when you have a lot of students, millions of fucking students
Yeah,
nationwide,
it's a
not even
bottleneck.
nationwide, you got people coming from all over the world, international
International,
students,
yes.
coming to study the same thing: business administration, computer science, medicine, electrical engineering, civil engineering, the whole like are these good fields to be educated in? Yes, they they genuinely are. They advance the human race in a very, positive way. However, what happens when you tell everyone, no, 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 don't do labor, you must be educated, because otherwise, you will make less income overall throughout your life. You don't have a say in most things because you're uneducated in them. Now, let's not conflate education and intelligence because they are not the same thing. So, what happens when you have all these people coming in taking the same fucking degree? You saturate you oversaturate the workforce. There's too many people with the same degree trying to get the exact same job at the exact same company. So a lot of them have to wait many, many, many years after graduation to get any sort of job that's pertinent to their degree. Because these highly skilled jobs, they're always going to be much more limited in scale to just general labor. always.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
general labor must always exist in a sort of symbiotic relationship with these higher skilled jobs, because it's the higher skilled jobs that bring these advancements, for the human race, and it's the general labor jobs that mass produce these
When
for
you
the
mean
masses to
general
enjoy.
labor, like what are you talking about?
By general labor, I'm saying the full scope of things like factory work, construction,
Like blue collar?
blue,
Yeah.
in a sense,
Like
blue
trade,
collar. I'm,
Like
I'm
like
people
trying
who
trade,
are
to,
like
I'm,
actually
trade
like
jobs.
building and creating stuff. Yeah.
yes, I'm
Yeah.
trying to like distinguish blue collar versus white collar here.
Yeah, white
So
collar is
yeah,
like office people.
there's always going to be a much higher demand for the blue collar. Maybe not always. That, like, saying there's always would be an incorrect statement statistically. However, generally there's going to be more demand for blue collar jobs than there is white collar jobs. You know, so you get this idea, this concept of education should be more accessible to everyone, higher education especially. Let's make it even cheaper. Let's lower the standards. Let's introduce these new bullshit fucking fields just so people can say, oh, I have a higher education degree. I went to college. For example, gender studies, sociology. You're not getting a fucking job with that.
Yeah, they're
Let's just
basically
be
made up
fucking real here.
subjects.
Hmm.
Let's just be real here. You'll be lucky if you end up working at fucking McDonald's. Let's just be
Yeah.
brutally honest here. But then, like I said, a lot of people going into business administration, business management, computer science, data science, computer engineering, because that's where the money is, because that's what they're always told in high school. You want a job, you learn this. You want to make money, you learn this. And then you oversaturate the job market. Everyone looks identical on paper, on their resumes. They all did the same internships, they did the same fucking programs,
Hmm.
and then they all bitch about, oh, I have all this debt. I went to college for this high paying fucking field and now I can't find a job. Well, that's on you because you
Yeah.
fell for the college lie, the college scam. You had
You want the
all these
easy way.
opportunities. Yeah, you wanted the easy way. Sure, it works out for some people historically in the past, and
And
by in
sometimes
the
you'll
past
just
I
get
mean like
lucky. Like shit, you might be one of those million people who actually gets a decent paying job out of college.
exactly, exactly, which nowadays is becoming increasingly more rare.
Yeah.
It's
It's
because of this
it's
oversaturation.
literally it's everything is revolving around the workforce. Like the education department or education in general is like revolving entirely around the workforce because you don't have a workforce or you don't have an education. You don't have to educate people if you're not putting them to work. So obviously, if there's a lot of fucking people who are trying to go to work with a higher degree, then it's not going to work. It's just not going to be
Exactly.
positive.
And also, the more people get these degrees, these high paying, highly skilled, highly technical degrees, the more it devalues that industry and the degree itself. It is no
Yeah,
longer a high paying job, a highly technically fucking proficient, whatever you want to call it,
yeah.
job, because you're
Let's say
oversaturating the
like
market. If you want all of them to get a job, okay, then these companies must allocate more funds and resources to paying all these employees, which means senior developers, for example, in some kind of data fucking firms, whatever, whatever. Just for example, back-end developers. You have these, they're working with databases all fucking day, which is a tedious, horrible fucking thing because that's what I studied with my computer science degree. I was professionally software and mostly back end development. It fucking sucks, man. But it I can understand why it's a high paying job. But with all these people going for it, okay, let's say a company like Google says, fine, we can hire 10,000 more people at our main campus. They currently have about 30,000 people working for them at their main campus. Let's say we want 10,000 more, so a total of 40,000. Now all these 30,000 other people have to get a pay cut. So their work is devalued and they get paid less, and all that time they spent grinding for that degree in the past is worth less now,
yep,
you know?
yep. And it's like if you have a college that has X amount of people studying a certain subject, for example, what's a good one? I would say communications. So many
Oh
people study
God.
communications.
It's the
Like
most useless degree
it's
there
and
is.
like the sad thing about it, like communications is very important, and like many fucking companies, like like companies need communications departments. But if you have a
Yeah.
million people who are studying that shit, like a
Mm-hmm.
million people who are studying that shit, and you only have like, I don't know, 100,000 opportunities in a city, like, bro, you have 900,000 people who are going to be fucking useless. And especially because those 100,000 people, they're not going to get paid enough either. Because it's like,
Mm-hmm.
all right, well, yeah, like you said with the Google pay cuts, for example, they're gonna like say, all right, well, we can only hire 50,000, but since we have a demand for 1 million, we're gonna try to compromise and actually give somebody a fucking, or give X amount of people a pay cut, or not even pay them enough. Let's just fucking make them all part time and say that's a fucking job for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just not good for the economy. Like that's not good for standard of living. And it's like people are like, "Oh, well, it's more jobs for more people." Like, no, like these people are working and they're not even making that much money. It's like, dude, well, yeah, yeah, they work
Mm-hmm.
in communications. That makes sense because it's such an oversaturated field everywhere.
And keep in mind, these are fields that require a higher education degree, which on paper says you get paid more. So if you have all these people coming in, and like like you just mentioned, more people come in. There's so many that come in, they get paid less now. They're part-time employees. Doesn't that also like reduce the overall efficiency of work and overall quality of the product because you're getting paid less? Now, I'm not saying this is for sure the case. There are many examples of people working, part-time or whatever, and they do well. But if you have such a massive workforce and, they're getting paid less for such a hard thing to get into, do you think these people will be willing to put in their best effort at their
Oh
job?
no,
No. No, absolutely not. So the overall quality of the product is reduced severely.
yeah,
Severely.
because then you'll have
So,
somebody who's working their ass off, but it's like they're only getting paid fucking $20 an hour in this economy or some shit. They're gonna treat that job like
no,
shit.
it makes no fucking sense?
They're like, oh, well, we're
So,
at least we're giving them a job. It's like, yeah, but you wonder why they come here and half-ass their fucking job because you're not even paying them what they're really worth. They're
yeah.
just doing the bare minimum, which is still good. Like, yeah, you're still getting your fucking deliverables, but you're not getting deliverables with like, what's the word? Like exceeding deliverables.
They're not getting a quality product?
Yeah, yeah,
And, I mean, nowadays everything's usually a cheap Chinese copy of something else, but,
yeah.
you know, you go into these fields, you use these services, you want a quality product. You want to know that what you're paying for, what you're doing is worth something that you didn't waste your fucking time. Now, we're talking about higher education, right? This all, let's be honest, stems from high school and elementary school. Because what kind of high schools did we have back in the day that were much more abundant and more prevalent than nowadays? Vocational high schools and high schools that
Trade
offered trade
schools.
programs.
Yeah,
Yes, exactly. I remember reading books in elementary school and in high school of I don't remember exactly the name of the book, but there was one book I had to read in Otis growing up, which I forget which grade it was in. It was either seventh or eighth, so Miss Pettiford miswriting in the class. But we had to read a book, and it was about a girl going to school in the 50s and how there are all these great fucking, in my mind, great things that could be taught to like boys and girls of high school age at that time, where it's like, okay, maybe you don't want to go on a higher education. Well, we have options for you to get ready for the workforce in high school. In high school, no matter which way you want to go, whether you want to go blue collar or white collar. Now it's all tailored to white collar and white collar only. You have to specifically go out of your way nowadays to find high schools that offer vocational and or trade programs. You really do. And it's sad, because you know how growing up it's always like, oh, you don't want to be a fucking garbage man or bus driver, do you?
Make a
Coincidentally,
shit
these
ton of money
fucking
now.
garbage men and bus drivers are making a shit ton more money than all these broke ass, in debt, jobless college graduates. You
To
know,
be
because
honest,
those fucking bus drivers and garbage truck drivers need a CDL, a commercial driver's license,
you
which
do.
nowadays,
Yeah.
after the new regulations, I guess it depends on the state you're in, but here it's $10,000 to get your CDL. When my dad got his CDL, like 13 years ago, it was $4,500 for him to get it. That's still not a small chunk of fucking money by any means. So I guess we could see that there's a slight trend going in the way of blue collar work, where blue collar work is now valued more so than
Because
white
it's
collar
you
work.
have to go do so much certification and exams.
Hmm.
Like it's truly valued because like the more you go up, the more you get weeded out. It's like, okay, well, you have to go to a trade school, right? All right, you got your basic certificate. Now you got to get your advanced certificate. Now you got to take this
Hmm.
exam, and it's like, all right, well, the more you go up, it's like the older you grow in high school, like the more people who drop out. It's like, all right,
Exactly,
well,
and
that's how it really should be. Like, weed out the fucking losers, weed out the people who are lazy, and weed out the bad ones. That's really how it is. But now we're quote unquote, I don't know why I keep fucking saying quote unquote, but we're getting more people chances. It's like, all right, if we're giving more people chances, how are we weeding out the bad people? Because you're just letting everybody, you're giving
no,
everybody a fucking attendance certificate at this point.
we gave these people chances the first fucking 18 to 22 years of their fucking lives. We gave them all these chances. We tried pointing them in the right fucking directions, and it still just didn't fucking click in their heads, you know. And now they're here bitching, "Oh, I work at McDonald's. I deserve 18.50 an hour because $15 wasn't enough." You know, I work as a fucking cashier, or I flip fucking burgers. It's so stressful. Like, yeah, dude, working at McDonald's is so fucking stressful. I get it. Maybe there's a morning rush or afternoon lunch rush, whatever. But don't fucking bitch that you're not making enough money working at a shit ass job when you have all these opportunities to advance yourself in a proper fucking way. You just don't want to take the initiative and admit, admit that you were fucking up. You're being lazy for such a long fucking time. Okay, maybe you did not have the opportunities to go to trade school or go to a university slash college of some sort. What is stopping you? Truly, now, what is stopping you from having that fucking drive to save up money, to go to a trade school, to go to a college? Hell, join the fucking military. You get 4 years of fucking pay for your active duty contract, depending on what MOS and what branch you're in, and also you get free college with the GI Bill or the fucking Montgomery Bill. There you go. That's what my sister fucking did when she went to Loyola. Free fucking university, fully covered. You know?
Yeah,
But no, people want the easy way out because people hate discomfort, you know? Obviously, most people hate discomfort. Like 99% of people hate. No one wants to be uncomfortable. But how are you going to grow and succeed if you live in a pampered fucking life when everything is handed to you on a
exactly.
silver
Yeah.
fucking platter? Everything is catered. Everyone has to cater to you. It annoys me so much, man. You know, that's not how I had it, you know. That is not how I had it.
Yeah, you have to fucking work.
I
You have
come
to
from a
earn it.
poor family of immigrants who my mom barely, even up to the time of her death, barely spoke any English. My grandmother spoke no English. My aunts and uncles, some of them still speak no fucking English. The most fluent one in English in my family is my aunt and my dad. Besides, me and my sister, the ones born in this fucking country, firstborn generation from immigrants from a former Soviet bloc country. You know, we weren't raised rich. We were raised fucking poor. And we learned the value of money and the value of hard fucking work. Shit,
Hmm.
we even learned that hard work is sometimes not fucking valued at all. And sometimes just the way you conduct yourself, the people the circles you're in. We were taught that, and that
Yeah, I
nothing's
agree.
going to be handed to you. So yeah, we had to work our asses off. Me and my sister. And we're both doing very well off now because our parents didn't give us oh, you're not feeling like going to school today. Oh, that's okay. You can go tomorrow. No, dude. Get your fucking ass up to school. Oh, you're dying of pneumonia? Fuck you. Go to school, learn. Oh, but that's child abuse. Hey, be be what it may, you know. At least it put me and my sister on the right fucking trajectory,
That is
which a
good.
lot of kids nowadays are not on.
Honestly, yeah. And it's because the fucking education system is just honestly failing them. It's shitty.
It is failing. Exactly. Like
Like the
for example, the
leaders of it
Chicago Teachers Union.
are really just not like they're not there. They're all lazy. We have lazy ass fucking leaders in the fucking college system, in the fucking in the high school system, and in the fucking early education system. They're all fucking lazy, just sitting there fucking using taxpayer money, using grant funds, and not doing shit with them.
Hmm.
Fucking money laundering that shit into their own fucking pocket, saying, "Oh yeah, we're fucking doing numbers," and you're fucking lying on your numbers.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
We, all of us here know how the CPS, and for anyone listening to the podcast, CPS is not Child Protective Services here. It is Chicago Public Schools. Here, Child Protective Services is called DCFS for the record. We all know how fucking bad CPS really is. Now, there are good teachers, but there's a lot of bad teachers with their own agenda who are just completely fucking out of the loop, lazy, don't give a fuck about what you, like, literally how you perform. You know, these teachers won't pull you out if you're underperforming in their class and be like, hey man, what's going on? Like, how can I help you advance through my class in a productive way where we both learn from each other? I learn how to be a better teacher. You learn, how to be a better person in the future, and you get your education. There's no fucking, I'm not saying at all, but the majority of these teachers in CPS don't fucking care. They're just there for a paycheck, and honestly, all they do is protest every single fucking year, demanding more and more money for the same fucking workload. You know, we see it ourselves every day. Every single year, we see Chicago Teachers Union protesting, wanting another fucking pay raise. Like, oh, I guess the last 7 weren't enough.
Yeah, and honestly, there's way too many fucking teachers to be honest.
Way
Way
too
too
many
many
teachers.
fucking teachers. And you got so many teachers, and they're just like half of them are shitty as fuck.
I guess we can argue also that there is um, an overpopulation of students
Hmm.
because I don't know if you remember when we were growing up, we normally had class sizes of 30, and we didn't consider that a lot. But I don't know if you remember some of the comments teachers used to say like, "Oh, we have 30 students now. That's a lot," you know. But even back then, like we went to the same school. We went to James Otis. Even back then, students who wanted to learn, who truly gave a shit about their future and education, who had that right push early on, learned. You know? They cared. Even as young as fucking first grade, they cared. It's just nowadays that's not valued. No one gives a fuck about actually truly being an intelligent person. They just give a shit about being called an educated person.
Hmm.
Oh, I have a higher education degree. Okay, but that still doesn't make you intelligent. If everything that you base your education around was done in the wrong way for the wrong reasons, are you using your education to advance yourself and the community around you, or using it just to fucking show off like, oh, I higher education. Anyway, I'm getting off track from like the whole like teachers in schools. Overall, the teachers in schools are horrendous. They do not care. They're there for a paycheck. A lot of them you can't fire because they're tenured. It's
Yeah,
quite ridiculous. It truly
it's
is.
really fucking crazy.
And it's only going to get worse. It genuinely is only going to get worse. And what we're seeing now is a true breakdown of America's education system in, elementary and high school levels as we speak. And especially now that what's being pushed on the kids more and more rather than learning the basic fundamentals of education, like math, science, reading, writing, history, the usual. Like shit, they don't even do they even teach fucking cursive handwriting in schools anymore?
No, nope. At least
Do
not
you
in my
remember when we were
generation.
kids? Do you remember when we were kids? We got those little cursive writing handbooks in like first grade or so,
I don't think I
like with
got
the
those.
lines. Oh, you didn't get that?
Nope. I think that's
Oh,
when they
dude, I
took it out.
remember. I remember. Oh, I mean, I am a couple years older than you. When I was in kindergarten, first grade, second grade, we got these cursive writing handbooks. And we would do it for, yeah, like I said, kindergarten, first grade, second grade. And basically like these, like almost like a loose leaf sheet of paper, but with like overextended lines with like dotted lines in the middle. And you would practice at least an hour a day, every single fucking day for those 3 years, on how to perfectly write in cursive. And you'd be graded on it. That's a skill that we're losing, you know? Is it a truly necessary skill? No. But is it good to know? Yeah. What is not necessary, absolutely not necessary, are these woke classes that are being taught nowadays. Like, for example, in Illinois, LGBTQ history. Absolutely unfucking necessary. There's no reason young children who barely grasp what multiplication is or division should be learning about this. There's no reason.
When did we even start learning history in school? Like
Remember back
third
then it was
fucking
called
grade?
social studies?
Yeah.
I remember starting in kindergarten, honestly, kindergarten. But back then it was called social studies before they called it history.
Yeah, I
I
remember it.
guess
I
that
remember it being social studies. I think they started teaching like social studies and history like third grade. That's what I
oh
remember.
damn, I remember for me it was kindergarten we got introduced to it. First grade is when it like really kicked up, but we
Social
got introduced to it in
studies.
kindergarten.
What an interesting name
Yeah,
for a fucking
the
class.
names of the topics have changed over time as well.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not opposed to like fucking like people learning about like LGBTQ stuff, but I don't like it just being an individual class. Because like that
I don't like it
technically
being
is
forced
history.
on the kids.
I don't like it being forced either, but like it is like some shit that's part of the history, and it's like, all right, well, history is written by victors in some points, and it's like I don't really want it to be super biased, but it's like that shit did happen, and it's like I want to hear about all history that happened, but it's like I don't want it to be like brainwashing history. You know what I mean? Like it's like
I mean,
you're gonna fucking learn this shit and this is all you're gonna know. It's like, all right, well, this is what happened in history and this is what society has learned. Like this is why we're here today. Like that's what people should know. Like end of story.
yes,
It shouldn't be biased at
exactly.
all. It's like, yeah, like the Second World War fucking happened. Is there a lot of shit that they're not telling us? Oh fucking yeah. There's a lot of shit
Dude,
that they
do
didn't
you
put in history
remember
about World
at
War II.
Otis ever really going super deep into like the War of
Nah,
1812,
they
World
didn't
War
even teach us
One?
that. Not even
Do you
World
remember,
War One. They
dude,
always
World
talked
War
about
One?
World War Two.
I did not learn truly about World War One until high school. Like I always knew that okay, it was trench warfare, blah blah. A lot of countries went into war with each other, but we usually, glanced at World War One in our
Mm-hmm.
social studies slash history classes, but we never like it was always
Like
World War
never
Two,
understood it.
Holocaust, Vietnam, Civil War, and the Revolutionary War. Um, it wasn't until high school that we started talking more about the French and Indian War, the War of 1812, World War One, Korea, the Gulf War, the whole invasions of
Yeah.
Grenada and Panama. But even then, it was barely anything. You know,
Yeah.
it
By
really
that
took.
time, I already taught myself about that shit.
Yeah, like at that point, I had to start teaching myself about it because it's like, now wait a minute. There's all these fucking wars that have happened in between, you know, even outside the U.S., like the Sino-Japanese War, the Japanese. Fuck, it happened prior to World War II. It was a war between Russia and Japan, and Japan absolutely fucked on Russia.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Um,
about. The
Yeah.
Russo
That
something
was
war.
that was before
Hmm.
World War One.
Was it World War One or two?
That was before World War One. I
It
think it
was
was
in the 30s.
1907 or 1908.
Oh, let me look it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. Either way, like
Japanese-Russian War.
even then, the history that
Russo-Japanese
we're
War. Yeah, in the early 1900s.
okay. Very good. I stand corrected. It was in the early 1900s prior to World War One, not World War Two. I guess technically correct, but World War One is more correct. Anyway, back to the point. In elementary school and even in high school, we barely touched upon a lot of these major events that happened in U.S. history. World War One is a very significant one, even though we didn't really enter the war until the bombing of the Lusitania. Um, I feel like it's still significant enough because the U.S. played a part in World War One. A
Yeah,
world fucking war. We never really talk
and
about Korea.
that's a big fucking deal.
We never really talk about the War of 1812. We never talk about the Spanish-American War, really. I mean, we did, but only for what, like half an hour, and then
Honestly,
fucking
they never
like,
really taught
okay,
us
fuck
about
that.
wars. They were teaching us about like,
What about the Banana Wars? You know?
oh yeah, they were really not even teaching us about wars that much. We were just learning about
No.
fucking people. It's like, oh, this
Mm-hmm.
fucking person did this, and I'm like, okay, like, I think that's nice, but it's like this is one fucking person versus a fucking world conflict. Yeah, I want to know why millions of people were fucking killing each other. I want to
Yeah.
understand what the fuck happened. Like that's what
Exactly.
literally happened in the war. Is like millions of people were literally fucking slaughtering each other. And it's like, do I
Like
give a
one.
shit about one person? Like, yeah, they may have did something great for society, but why are we spending 4 fucking months on this one fucking loser? Like, come on, bro.
Exactly. Like
Like,
obviously there are historical figures that have done more than others, so they should be talked about a bit more. But like you said, we shouldn't spend 4 fucking months talking about one person.
yeah,
History is a very long and very tedious subject. But if every single fucking year from first grade to eighth grade we always spend 4 months on the same person, you would think by the second or third fucking time we talk about the same person, I would remember everything that we previously talked about. Because it's the same rehashing of the same bullshit that we always talk about. It never changed. You know? It's just it's frustrating. It really is frustrating how it never. I genuinely feel like my education mostly came from my own volition, my own, I wanted to learn more because I knew I would be behind others if I didn't take accountability and start, learning myself, like being responsible. I knew I'd be behind. If I truly followed what CPS said and like followed, to the T how they were teaching, I would be behind. So I took it in my own hands, especially in high school.
I think college courses were good for history though, at least in my experience,
Oh yeah,
because they
college
were very
courses in
specific.
history are very highly like they highly specify like certain key, times in history for certain regions and events. Like that's a completely different thing. We're talking about like elementary school and high school history classes, you know. And
hmm
uh, going back to how like some classes were removed for some classes, like the whole LGBT thing or all these bullshit classes. Like there's my personal example. When I was a Golder, I was really excited freshman, sophomore, and junior year to take AP Computer Science along with AP Calculus and AP Stats my senior year. Come senior year, AP Computer Science has been removed for that bullshit counter reform neo Marxism, whatever fucking movement class it was, where all we did was read Heart of Darkness and talk about, oh, how evil the white man is. Like, I'm really not taking fucking computer science for this shit. They removed computer science entirely from the school's curriculum for this bullshit?
I'm fucking
Seriously?
dead.
I was genuinely excited. Absolutely excited. My first 3 years, yeah, I know it sounds like a fucking nerd thing to learn about AP computer science, but I wanted to break into the field. I wanted to truly learn about it more than just like whatever my little brain at the time could process by looking up YouTube videos and reading articles and going on StackOverflow.com. I wanted to truly like have like an educational experience on it from people who are meant to educate me. No, no, fuck AP Computer Science, unnecessary. We're gonna teach you about why white people are bad and how they colonized Africa, the Dutch and all that. It's like, what the fuck, man? I like, yeah, we know about this. We don't need to have a class specifically dedicated to this when I'm already taking another fucking history class on top of this. They removed an AP Computer Science class so I can take two fucking history classes at the same time. I don't need two history classes. I'm not gonna be a fucking historian. And that's another failure of the public education system in the United States. Obviously, children at a very young age already know what they prefer more. Some prefer English reading, writing, literature more than others. Some prefer, STEM fields, maths, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, more than others. And it would be a daunting task it truly would be a daunting task to, I guess, I don't want to say customize, but I guess give everyone an individualized lesson plan per student. But it should really be taken into account. Some students prefer to learn this more than this. I'm not saying if you prefer math and science, you shouldn't learn reading and writing. Obviously, you should have like be at the same level as there should be a standardized level of that for everyone else. But there should also be, if a teacher sees that a student really likes algebra or trigonometry, for example, well, why not, push them to pursue that, give them more challenging work, really, really drive them forward with it, if you really see they're passionate about it. No, it's all the same standardized bullshit everywhere. Like you're gonna take this and that's it. Like
Yeah.
that's fucked up, man. And that's what drives a lot of people away from higher education. Like
It's
some
like the
truly intelligent
fucking
people.
they think that they can really just control what you learn. As like that's not the way humans work. Like people want to pick what they learn, not just be forced down the throat. Oh, you're gonna fucking learn about this shit. Oh, we're basically just gonna waste your time and make you take this useless class that you don't need, but we know
Gen
that you
Eds.
don't need it, and we want you to stay here longer because we want to fucking milk you for your money. We want to get your number because, yeah, you have a fucking price on your head. Every fucking college student is a number for the institution, right? And the number for the
Basically, Gen
institution is,
Eds.
yeah, and then the number for the institution is just more money for them.
It's all big money laundering fucking scheme. Like, oh no, you have to take 2 years of Gen Eds and prerequisites so you could culturally enrich yourself. Like that was
It's
the
like,
bullshit I was
why the
spewed at
fuck do
fucking
I give a
UIC.
shit?
That was the bullshit I was told at UIC when I was an incoming freshman in 2014. Like, oh no, you have to take gen eds and all these language credits so you can culturally enrich yourself and have more diverse viewpoints. It's like I don't give a flying fuck. I don't care. I'm coming here with one thing and one thing in mind. It's to get my fucking degree and get the fuck out of here, dude. I don't give a shit about, adventure and exploring and learning about Dude, no, I don't fucking care. Do that in your own time. I'm paying fucking money for this, dude. I just want to get my professional career started as fast as possible. But no, I'm forced to take 2 years of absolutely useless fucking. I wouldn't call them useless. Like, sure, this is like not good knowledge to know, but man, the fact that it's forced upon a lot of students, it really fucking pisses me off. Because most of these 4 year undergraduate degrees, you can finish in 2 fucking years. If you just take your major classes, absolutely you can finish in 2 years. Where you don't have to take these bullshit little gen eds like anthropology or sociology or philosophy or whatever. You know, if the fucking student in this case, adults, 18 plus year olds in college, aren't fucking interested in learning about those things, then why are they being forced to take them and pay for them if it has nothing to do with their future career? It is ridiculous. they're going to spread the bullshit of, oh, it's culturally enriching and, it expands your knowledge. I can do that in my own fucking time for free. I can legitimately
Exactly.
find scholarly articles on fucking Google and learn about this for free in less time with less stress. I don't need to pay thousands of dollars a fucking semester to have it on my fucking transcripts so I can get a stupid piece of paper that says I learned about this. When half the
Yeah.
fucking time I was learning shit that's not part of my fucking major.
And that's the sad thing. They're
You
just
know what you could do?
fucking
In that case,
using to
you can
brainwash
cram
people.
half of the graduate courses into undergraduate so that these undergraduate students are coming out even more highly educated than they ever were. Remove the gen ed fucking system, cram a good portion of the fucking graduate student system into that same 4-year undergraduate system. You have even more highly educated students graduating into the workforce.
Yeah, and they'll be
Even more.
younger too.
And they'll be younger.
Like
Exactly.
that's the better part about it. We're wasting so much years learning about stuff that's not even impactful. That's just stuff that's like almost brain dead. It's like, bro, I'd rather just watch paint dry for 2 fucking years at that point.
Exactly. It's truly a scam. It is a money laundering scheme.
Like
It
people
is
should
all
people
that's
should
all it
have
is.
their degrees, I would say, before they turn 20. Like you should be a
Yeah.
teenager and have a fucking college degree. Like seriously. Like if you cut half the shit out of high school, more than half the shit out of grammar school, and obviously half the shit out of college education, you'll have fucking teenagers graduating with college degrees, and
You
the
can
world will
genuinely
be
have
so
the
fucking
equivalent
different.
you can genuinely have the equivalent of like bachelor's or master's degrees graduating at like 18 years old.
Yeah, and honestly, that
Yeah.
will be a great fucking world, but we have a really shitty education leadership system here where they just want to milk people for money. It's about the
Exactly.
money, and that's the fucking sad part about it. It's a business. College is a business, and everybody knows that. Like everybody in high school, like even the teachers, they were like, yeah, secretly, like they'll just tell you on the low. They'll be like, yeah, college is a business, and they're just gonna get you for the money. And it's like, damn,
Hmm.
they fucking warned us because they knew what the system was. They know how corrupt it is because it is corrupt.
Hmm.
It's so much money involved in the education system, like billions of fucking dollars, billions of fucking dollars. That's just being wasted.
But then let's take away the money in this for hypothetically. Let's take away the money from education, right? Let's say we have like a more socialist or a communist education system. Is that any better?
It
Not fucking
depends.
really.
Yeah, I don't really think so. It depends. Like honestly, I would think it would be the same, to be honest. I
Hmm.
think it'll damn near be a fucking replica, to be honest, because it's still about the leadership. Like the fucking people who are running this shit.
Oh yeah.
Like we're talking
No
about like
matter
the
what.
political leaders, we're talking about like the fucking people on the board, or not even the fucking presidents or chancellors can do shit. They're just human resources in that spot.
Hmm.
They're a super manager, right? They just hire and fire and manage all of that boots on the ground shit, but it's really just all about the board and all about the politicians who are truly in power. That's where the fucking
Hmm.
real decisions come from.
Hmm. No matter what, no matter if it's capitalist, true communist, socialist, a hybrid fucking political compass, whatever, if there's fucking bad apples involved anywhere down that line, it's gonna be fucked up. No matter where you are. It doesn't matter if it's capitalist or communist, like I said. Like, for example, fucking Cuba has a 99% literacy rate. Does that mean Cuba's running well? Does that mean that country is doing well compared to the rest of the world? Have you seen the state of Havana, Cuba nowadays? It's not so great. And also I don't think we should value janitors and heart surgeons at the same level. Me personally, I don't think that is fair. Um, because the person who studied to be a heart surgeon had to do exponentially more fucking work to do what he does properly than be a fucking maintenance worker or janitor. I don't know. That's just fucking me, you know, just the common sense in me saying that that's not fair. You know, a little bit of anti-communist agenda in here because my parents escaped from a fucking communist regime. Anyway, the education system's always gonna have bad apples in it unless we truly reform it for the betterment of, you know, like actual, what am I trying to say? Unless we truly want to progress and advance as a human race, technologically, you know, financially, just truly, like, whenever I think of progressing as a human race, I always go back to like sci-fi examples. You know, technology gets fucking crazy. You know, we have a lot of money. We figured a lot of shit out. We can get off this fucking planet. We can go, you know, almost like some Star Wars shit. That's just how I see it. Like advancement of the human race, like getting off this planet, colonizing other planets, figuring more shit out about physics, about the universe, just learning more about our environment. That's really what education is, you know. History is learning about past environments. Um, Physics is learning about how, math leads to physics, physics leads to chemistry, chemistry leads to biology, so on and so forth, type shit. It's I don't know. It's just sad. It's just sad what this
Actually, that was
it's
muted. I didn't even notice that.
oh, you're good. I'm trying to say it's sad that people don't value education the right way. It's it's truly more of a flex nowadays, like, oh, I'm educated, rather
Yeah,
than, oh, I have an education in this. It's really more of a status symbol, like owning an iPhone or whatever.
yeah,
It's really worth nothing nowadays. I can redo my whole mathematics and computer science degree on YouTube in much less time. Relearn
yeah.
everything.
Yeah, you know what they say, knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power. Sure.
Knowledge is power.
Yeah,
Knowledge is power, but
I
also,
would love to improve our education system. That's really where the root of a lot of our fucking world's problem is. It's the
Yeah.
yeah,
education system.
he said, knowledge is power, but keeping the sheep blind is more powerful. You know, they learn what you want them to learn. You have them in the palm of your hands.
You're basically just spoon feeding them what you want to feed them.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, here's some fucking poison. Just eat it.
You're not teaching them objective reality and facts.
Teaching them how to be slow and stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you control a population.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I mean, you know what happened under Pol Pot's regime in Cambodia? You know
What?
what Pol Pot did? Pol Pot was a dictator of Cambodia. He killed off everyone who was more educated than him. Cambodia's IQ dropped significantly under his regime because he could not stand anyone having a higher education than him because they were dangerous to his regime. Crazy.
Yeah, he was gonna
We're
get
all spoon
fucking.
fed the same garbage.
He was gonna get taken over.
We're all spoon
Yeah.
fed the same garbage, at the end of the
It's
day.
it's like it's like in the if y'all seen the interview when they go to North Korea and the fucking authoritarian regime puts on like an act like, oh, our citizens aren't hungry, like look at all this food we have, and then it's like if you look up close it's actually like it's all fake. It's all a
Cardboard
facade.
bullshit.
Yeah, because that's,
Hmm.
they want people
It's
to
like,
think
look,
one
look
thing
at
and
all of
then
this stuff that you're gonna learn, and
yeah.
look at what you're gonna be. You can be a fucking CEO. You can be a whatever person making all of this money when that's unfortunately not really the case. Because you know
Just
what? They're
some
telling
countries
that
are,
same thing to 60 million fucking people. They're
just
telling them and they're feeding them the
much
same
better at,
thing.
some countries are much better at putting up that facade than other ones. I'm looking at our own country.
Yeah,
It's all just a
it's all
fucking
over.
facade, man.
Yeah.
There's
Such a
infinite
such a
knowledge
good
for
word.
free. There's infinite knowledge for free on the
Yeah.
internet, in libraries, in day-to-day life experiences. It's just how you approach it and what the information you extrapolate from it and how you apply it in later experiences that determines, the course of your life and how you will go on about your business, your day-to-day business.
Yeah. Even Elon Musk said it. You don't have to go to college. Everything's accessible online.
Oh shit, I wasn't even quoting fucking Elon Musk.
No, but that's I just remember he had an interview where he talked about that. And he said something along those lines.
Yeah, man. Even my dad told me, like, if he had the resources back then that we all have now, where every piece of information is readily available, whether where you look, like in places on the internet, if you know where to look, like and this is a bit narcissistic of him. He said he would be infinitely fucking smarter than most people, with that passion to learn and that drive to learn when you're young. If he had the same shit back then that we have now, it would be a much different story. We just a lot of us take it for granted. A lot of us don't care. A lot of us just follow the status quo bullshit that we're spoon fed by the fucking media and the government to do this, do that, and then bitch about it later because that's what they want us to do. You know?
Yeah, it's their way of stalling us, or it's their way of stalling the human
It's
race.
all a distraction, man.
Yep, yep. From
It's
what
crazy how
really is going on.
the Epstein files still haven't been fully publicly revealed, but that's it's all just a distraction, man.
It is
Yeah.
the next Super
Uh,
Bowl. That's gonna be the next
mhm.
distraction. But that
It's
already
the
happened.
next current thing, you know.
The fucking
It's
Super
always
Bowl, the next war, the next thing that's gonna fucking keep people's minds off of the fucking
it's whatever
truth.
they say the current thing is.
It's like, okay,
Thankfully,
and this is
something
why
in my
communications is really important. Like they're literally just fucking invading our communications channels and just polluting it with crap.
oh yeah.
Well, we
Thankfully, there's
got we got
something
three
in my
minutes left
brain.
in the podcast, so any
Okay.
closers?
Uh,
We can start closing
I just want
out.
to say, thankfully, there's something in my brain that I've had in me since I was a kid that always tells me to do the exact fucking opposite of what people tell me to do. Uh, I don't know what it is. I guess it could partially be spite, but it's led me, I guess, the right way down my educational career and my career path in my current job. So it's led me well to take everything with a grain of salt and trust your gut instinct and do what you feel is right.
Yeah, people need to ask more questions about what they believe reality is, um, and question authority, um, and understand that everybody has their own agenda, and um, everybody has their own interests, and try and uncover why it is that people do what they do, why the world is what it is, because I think that's going to make people more insight. I think that's going to be a lot more insightful for a lot of people to keep that in the back of their minds.
I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep, yep. Well, that's about all the time we got. We're running up on 1 hour, so hope you all enjoyed, and we'll be talking with y'all soon.
So yeah.